Hi everybody, my name is Lisa and I'd like to welcome you to my home. This is Lisa Abby's Needleworks is the channel name, and I thank you for joining me. I mainly just work on cross stitch projects, and sometimes I throw in some quilting or punch needle, and so far I've just been doing cross stitch. So I thought I would share with you a little bit about what progress I've made in the last couple weeks since my last video, and I hope you'll find something that you enjoy looking at. I thought I would start off with a little Sabrosa pattern. This is called Autumn Berries, and it's in the fall issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. So this was a Mania start, and then I used it as one of my lunch break projects for a week or so. So I would work on it for about 10-minute increments now and then. So I was able to get the border all done, and I got the alphabet in and the numbers in. So now I just have like 4 stars at the top and then 4 little clusters of berries underneath the birds, and it'll be finished. I love how it's turning out. I'm just using some random colors that I like, story of my life, and I'm just using thrift store linen that's tea dyed. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to finish that one, maybe a pillow. I worked on Patriotic Poppies the other day by Brenda Gervais. This one really gave me fits. I had worked on I think the sampler most of the morning. This was on Sunday. And after Larry left, he went out of town, and I thought, oh, I'll spend the evening stitching on something different. So I pulled out Patriotic Poppies, and during Mania, I had just done this section here, and I had done the bunting and like the first 2 stripes. So I thought, oh, this will be an easy one to just pick up. So I'll just start and I'll do the butt of the sheep, So I was just going to start there. Easy peasy. It was the end of the night, and I was already tired, and I think I had already stitched, I don't know, pretty much the entire day. I think I started at like 10 in the morning, and I stitched until like 6 on that sampler. So anyway, so I'd already stitched a ton, but I was still raring to go, so I decided to work on this. Easy peasy. So I get first of all, I do like 3 rows, and I'm in the wrong color. I kept looking at it, I thought, this doesn't look like the same color. I'm doing 2 colors that are very close in shade. The bunting is a white, and then this is like an off-white, grayish white. So anyway, so I pulled that out. Still kept going, and I got the right color thread, and then I did this area here, only to find out that it wasn't lining up because I was counting, how many I should do, and it wasn't near the right number. And I thought, what in the world? So then I looked at the pattern, and I realized that when I stopped on Mania on the first day that I worked, I didn't do all of the bunting. Yeah. So again, I ripped out all of that stitching, and then I did the end of the bunting like I was supposed to, and then I continued on, and then everything lined up. Imagine that. But anyway, so I was real surprised that, because I'm not much of an unstitcher. I usually just put the project aside, or I try to decide whether it's something I can just fudge my way through, which is the majority of what I try to do. And then I get to the end, and it's a nightmare because now nothing lines up. And so anyway, now I just usually just put it aside. But I just really liked the look of this one, and I didn't want to just set it aside. So I was really glad that I just ripped all that out and did it right. And so I'm excited to keep working on that. So that was the end of Sunday. And then on Tuesday, when I went to work on my lunch break, I did a little bit in the wagon. So I think it's going to be cute. I got a little bit of work done on my strawberry. Now, this is the first strawberry I've ever done. So hopefully I'm able to construct the thing. I would think. I think positive, right? This is an Erica Michaels, and I'm doing it on, I think it's Gunmetal, maybe, by Weeks Dye Works. I wish I'd have pressed it. I'm sorry. It would have looked so much prettier if I pressed it. But I think during Mania, it was like on a Sunday, I think, that when this fell on. So I was able to just work all day. And but then I was able to, since then, I was able to do all these other motifs on it. And I just love how it's turning out. I think it's super pretty. And I'm using Freedom by Gentle Arts for that color. Trying to keep my stuff together because I had plans of writing down like colors and whatnot, since of course I had to change all my colors. Can't do it called for, you know. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll write everything down, and I never did. And so I have just very different shades of, or not very different, they're very similar shades of red in different projects. So now I have to sit there and think, is that the right red? Crazy. Don't do as I do. It's just crazy. So I worked on my USA. It's a freebie off Pinterest. And this I had majority all done. I just had to do about like 20 stitches. I just needed to finish the USA in the red. So I got that done this morning. So that's my big finish. Woohoo! But a lot of times, like I was watching a lot of people's Mania starts, and I just didn't have a whole lot of charts in my stash. And so I had to go with freebies. And but it's been kind of relaxing. They're little projects, and a lot of it has been on just thrift store linen, so using my DMC. So it's been a very stress-free Mania. I worked a little bit on Plum Street Samplers, Merry Friends, and I plan on putting it in the tart. I had done Olga's tart a ways back, and I love the way it looks in there, so I'm gonna get another tart. Sorry, kids are not my kids, but kids are off having fun outside. So anyway, during Mania, I had a very small start on this. I just basically did this little section right here, so I was able to finish Santa's outfit and do his head and his hat. So it's coming along pretty fast. I just worked on that a very little bit in the evening one night. Okay, so one of my bigger projects that I actually purchased a chart for is by Stacy Nash, and it is Rabbit Hollow Farm Samplers. Sorry, the picture's kind of blurry to begin with, and then throw in some shine and it's just a mess. But anyway, loving this one. I'm just doing it on really tea-dyed. I mean, I let this guy soak quite a bit. I wish I'd have pressed it. I'm sorry. So I think during Mania, I just had like the corner flower and the two flowers on either side of it. So when I picked it up again, I think it was on a Sunday. And so I've been able to get a few more flowers done. I worked a little bit on that little white border. And then I got the little, look at the little man and woman in there. Aren't they cute? So anyway, I'm really enjoying this one. I'm to the point now in this flower under the woman here that I can find a good spot to start the barn shape. So I didn't have the right color grayish black that I wanted to use in the top of the barn with the weather vane. I wanted to use more of a grayish black. And so I was able to pick that up the other day. So I'm kind of excited to pick that back up again. Probably the one that I worked on the most was Sampler Hill by Brenda Gervais. I did, of course, different colors in it. more my favorite colors than the called for colors. And the house was just supposed to be like a pinkish off-white color. And I knew it wasn't going to show up, so I changed the color. So during Mania, I started with the border, and this was my lunch project for a few of the days. And so I would just work on it like 10 minutes at a time. But I was able to work on some of the center motifs. I had to go get my car worked on. And so anyway, had some free time. So I started the house, and I decided to do it in more of a blue than an off-white. And then I decided, instead of doing like cream colored alphabet in the grass, I decided to try my favorite brown. So I'm hoping it shows up good enough. What do you guys think? I think once all the letters get in there, I think it'll make sense. So sorry, I'm getting blurry there. Okay. So that was really the one that I had done the most work on. That pretty much wraps up what I've been working on since my last video. I hope everybody enjoyed doing Mania or enjoyed watching the craziness. Like I said, I didn't really feel that mine was too crazy. It was pretty laid back. And I love the fact that now I get tired of one, I can just grab another bag out of my basket. It has everything I need, and I can just play around with something else until I get tired of it. And a lot of times, if I got tired of a project, then I would just set it aside and I wouldn't stitch at all. And odds would be I would just sit there and eat chips or something. So this has been very productive. There hasn't been many chips consumed in this household. Plus you have greasy fingers and you have to get off the couch to wash your hands before you start stitching again. So it's just a bummer. Anyway, I'm starting to sound a little goofy. So thanks for joining me in my kitchen. I thought I would try to sit in a little bit different area. I was going to film in my sewing room, but with all this rain that we've been experiencing, I'm in Ohio, and so we've had rain almost every day and a lot of rain. So my husband had done a lot of grading in our front yard because we kind of live, like the street that we live on is a dead end. And anyway, all the water runs to our front yard. So he did a ton of grading and put in a huge rock wall that he did all himself. And it ends up to be like a 4-foot moat around the front of our house when it rains a lot. And so it had filled up that 4-foot area and was halfway through the road yesterday when I came home. And there's still supposed to be more rain tonight. Ooh. So, and we're just so saturated that it's having a hard time, having any place to go. So anyway, we rarely get too much water in our basement. And so it's been such a long time that I didn't even go through the drill of going down there and checking all the time and making sure that like my fabric was picked up or anything like that. And so I went down to get my clothes the other day to go to work. And of course, being at the last minute that I had, because there was always something else you think, oh, I can get that done before I go to work. And so I just had enough time to get dressed and hit the road. And I realized that my laundry area is all in water. And it even came in by my sewing machine. Thankfully, it didn't get any of the controls or, like the foot pedal was fine. It was in a dry spot. And thankfully, it didn't get any of my fabric. So I'm truly blessed in that area, but I still have to go clean up a bunch of junk. There was a little bit of laundry that got saturated, so I got to go get busy. So thank you for joining me and hearing me rattle on about what I've been working on. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you join me again. Bye-bye.